Former world heavyweight champ Mike Tyson, among those putting pressure on President Trump to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug.
Scheduling from 1 to 3, you have to believe cannabis is in the same category as heroin. How do you categorize it with heroin? Anybody that ever smoked cannabis know there's no comparison. Mm-hmm. And that's just ridiculous. So we're working on making a Schedule 3 and open up safe banking, because there's over 500,000 people that can't get loans because they're in the cannabis business alone. And that's just so ridiculous.
All right, so let's bring in Dr. Drew Pinsky, addiction medicine internist and host of the Dr. Drew podcast. Doctor, it's great to have you with us today. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy over this issue. And you heard Mike Tyson, the well-known boxer, of course, saying, he went on to say later, no one's ever died from cannabis. Nobody ever OD'd on it. What is your reaction to this?
But he's categorically wrong about the effects of cannabis. We've seen it as each state has led towards decriminalization. You see the marked incidence of trouble, mostly caused by the high potency of cannabis. So now we are seeing people really, they are unable to function. They have difficulty at work, psychotic episode, mood disturbances, and severe addiction. My own daughter is had to get into recovery from cannabis addiction, and it's because of the powerfulness of the drug, the concentration of the drug. It's no longer something that was 10% THC like it was in the 70s and 80s. It's approaching 100%. So to say it's a harmless drug is ridiculous. However, he's right in the sense that our drug laws are somewhat draconian and bizarre. The fact that we just call some drugs good and some drugs bad. If we could ever have a realistic conversation about cannabis and its profound effects, maybe then we could create more realistic laws around it. The problem is people have gotten into these camps where it's all either this glorious solution to all human ills, or it's the worst drug that's ever been created. And the reality is there are no bad drugs. There's just medicines and drugs and their effect on the human condition.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen so much legalization, and you do see impacts from it, as you articulate so well. This is Alex Berenson this morning talking about the data around legal marijuana. He was on Fox and Friends earlier. Let's watch.
A lot of states have experimented now with legalizing cannabis. We have about 15 years of data. It's not working very well. There's still a huge illegal market for cannabis in those legalized states. There's still a lot of violence around cannabis growth and sales in those states. Cannabis really is dangerous. Cannabis and THC, they're linked to heart attacks, they're linked to strokes, they're linked to all kinds of severe mental illness.
Yeah, obviously kids have so much more access as well, Dr. Drew.
Well,
go ahead.
The problem is, he's absolutely correct. He wrote a book probably 12, 14 years ago now that called this out, and he was absolutely right. I thought he was actually overstating it back then, but he was actually understating it. We really didn't have an appreciation for some of the cardiac and pulmonary complications of the drug, as well as the severe effects on mental health. The reality is, when something is legalized, the perception is that it's not harmful. And look, alcohol is extremely dangerous as well. You want every adverse health outcome for a youth, you find alcohol. And yet we're very casual about our relationship with it. Cannabis is the same thing. And legalizing it, unfortunately, isn't helping matters. It's making things worse.
Yeah, we hear reports in New York, and I'm sure other schools, of kids, eating gummies, and they can't function in class because they have access to these forms that they never had access to before. And you can take it; it doesn't smell like anything. There's no smoke.
It's all over the place. Listen, I'm in California. It's been legal here for a while now, and we are watching the consequences. And as I said, it's come to bear on my own family. I don't think anyone escapes it. Everyone knows the adverse effect from the substances, and it is a function of the marketplace. When it's legal, they make it more powerful, more accessible, and then we got big trouble.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Drew Pinsky, thank you very much. Good.